Hey, yo, what up, sluts? This is Taylor, and I'm doing an episode of BADVICE, the first one for real, and essentially the premise is you guys send me inquiries into my mind to try and figure out what I would do in a situation, and then I come back with advice that is completely terrible. And I would put a disclaimer that says don't do this shit in real life, but if you do this shit in real life, then you're dumb enough that a disclaimer wouldn't help anyway, so sucks to suck on that part. So anyway, if you enjoy this, just do me a favor and rate. Like, it's really fucking easy, you know? It's really, really easy. As I've said before, I don't give a shit if it's an up or down. It works the same way. So, anyway, on to the questions. And for the sake of anonymity, I am not going to be reading the names of the people who sent it. Not like your, name is your social security number with your legal name in the front or something like that. Just out of respect, you know? And it'll also prevent people from trying to make just the most ridiculous ones up ever that are clearly fabricated just to get listed off. So, here we go. First one. His message is, I am 14. Me and my girlfriend have been dating for about 2 years. We have sex almost every day, and our parents are starting to get suspicious. What should I do? Alright, let me just say first off that I would think this is fake, because for 2 years, if you've been fucking every day for 2 years and you're 14, that means that you guys were having sex on the reg at age 12. And, I mean, I know when I was 12, I was thinking about sex, because, 12-year-olds think about sex, or at least 12-year-old dudes, but I don't think that my penis was in any position to be having sex, to be perfectly honest. I don't think this little girl and her, incredibly young body parts are in any position for you guys to be doing this. So I'm not in any way advocating that. So that seems pretty fake to me. Or maybe it's a real situation and you're just lying, I don't know. Or maybe you are just someone who really broke into that seal pretty early. Alright, so you're just young enough that I think you should just go straight up to them and tell your parents, Mom, Dad, me and Susie Q over here have been railing each other's brains out for the last 2 years. Do you remember when you took me to my first day of 6th grade? Yeah, guess what? My D was still wet. So you get that through your head, parents? You get that? You understand where I'm coming from? So guess what? Me and Susie, we're headed upstairs right now. We're going to have a fantastic time, okay? And your parents are still looking at you like you're 12, 13, 14, little kid. And they go, oh, he's so funny. He's just a joker. He's just goofing off. And then you can just say other things like, hey, me and Susie or me and Samantha, I don't know why I'm sticking with S names, but we're going to go see Up, and then we're going to bang in the back row. But when you get there, you got to be sure that when you start banging Up, you got to go in the front row, because trust me, the back row is where the first place they always look. So always go in the front row. They won't suspect it. They'll hear, incriminating moaning and noises and slapping and whatnot, but, they're not going to know where it's coming from. It's a big area, and with the masking effect of the movie, they're not going to know. Just go right up in the front row, start having your fun there. Or you can say even more ridiculous things to fool them. Just say, like, hey, we're going to go put my P and her V over in the back of my big wheel, because, I don't know, 14-year-olds, they drive big wheels? I don't know. I just know they can't drive four-wheel, so definitely just go straight up to their faces, tell them in explicit detail, but make it so explicit that it was only the kind of thing you could have seen from porn, and then at the very least they'll be like, hey, you must have been looking at porn because you were such a little kid. There's no way you're doing anything wrong. So that's my approach on that. I would definitely go for the bold-faced, flaunting lie approach, and they'll think you're joking. They're not going to know what to think. So I hope that helps. Next one, he or she says, who am I kidding? He says, how do I get my mother and grandmother to stop smoking? Good for you. This is a much more valiant and seems like truthful question than the previous one. What you're going to first want to do is go out into a dangerous city area and score some PCP, or on the streets they refer to it as angel dust. And that's a very powerful drug. Don't take any yourself, kids. Don't go into that. So you get the PCP, and then next time your grandma and your mom leave their packs of ciggies out, you're going to scoop some of the tobacco out, then you're going to put some angel dust in there, then you're going to pack the rest of the tobacco back in and just sit there and wait. And pretty soon they're going to stumble upon a cigarette where they're just in the middle of having their good old nicotine buzz, and then bam, out of nowhere, they're just going to be seeing shit, and they're going to be vibrating like crazy. They're going to be pulling their fingernails off with pliers. They're going to be doing inappropriate things with the family pets. They're going to be running through the streets naked, pounding their hands on the grounds, and they're going to be so humiliated after that whole ordeal that they're never going to want to smoke anything again. You're going to be like, Mom, Grandma, yesterday when you guys were fondling the cat and dog, and after smoking your cigarettes and, burning animals outside with a magnifying glass and slapping your bare palms naked in the street, waving your ass around. When you're doing that in traffic, you know how that happened? They're going to be like, oh, yeah, I know how that happened. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. And you're going to be like, yeah, I want to ask you that you never smoke cigs again. And they're going to say, okay, we promise, because you're in no position to barter after something happens like that. If they run around naked and get arrested for something, sure, maybe a little bit of monetary cost in the short run, but you can't put a price on the longevity of life. You're saving them in the long run. Thank God for me helping them out. So definitely do that. PCP is the drug I would say to go for because of all the stories in the news. It's pretty common that you see movie stars and whatnot doing cocaine and having a great time. And so the chances are if you gave them a drug like heroin or cocaine, they just get really addicted. But you never hear a story about someone saying, you know, I did some PCP the other day and I had a great time. I really enjoyed myself. I really just opened my mind up. Yeah, you don't hear about that. So definitely just go for the PCP and bada bing bada boom, I should charge for this shit because they're going to be done smoking faster than you can say a really long word that takes a few syllables to say. Couldn't think of anything. All right. Next person. I am in a band with a few of my close friends, and although we are just getting started, we definitely have a lot of potential, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, I read this one before. He has one member of the band who is really emphatic and really, really into the idea of the band, but he's really bad and bringing them down. He's like harsh and they're mellow and whatnot. And so he's wanting to know how to let them off and to make sure that they can still be friends, but that he doesn't play in their band anymore. And so this is a really difficult one, and it seems like a real question, so kudos to you. Now, first, you definitely don't just want this guy around, but from what I can understand, you still want him to be your friend, okay? So from this letter, he plays guitar, and you already have 2 guitars in the band, so that's just overkill. So what you're going to do is one night when you're all sleeping, maybe have a sleepover at your house, and you're going to wake up, go to his house, use his guitar, which make sure it's not on the night where you're all practicing, and then if he has a family pet, you want to beat the pet to death very gruesomely, very bloody. If you can find some sort of animal in the backyard just to do it, like a raccoon or something, that'll probably be better, but, you know, as far as effectiveness goes, you want to beat the shit out of that pet just to a bloody pulp, and then once you've done it with that guitar is going to be covered in gore, there are going to be bits of flesh strewn through the strings, it's going to be really nasty, and you want to make sure that you're wearing gloves this whole time so they can't do any CSI shit. And if you're one of those weird kind of criminals who likes to masturbate after they perform their various acts of varying levels of heinousness, then don't do that, you know, just hold off till you get home and spank it then, but beat the animal to death, leave the guitar there covered in blood, and he's going to come back and be so distraught at this sight of his favorite, you know, instrument and his favorite pet juxtaposed in this horrible just mesh of fear and gore and hatred, and it'll be horrifying. And so for a little while, most likely he's going to be having some PTSD, right? A little bit of post-traumatic stress disorder. He's not going to want to get near his guitar. You're a young guy, so you can't just go out and buy a new guitar right away. And every time he starts playing guitar again, he's like, oh, I remember when my dog Sammy got opened up by my last guitar, and like getting all sad about it. And hey, guess what? Extra caveat onto this one. Since he's going to be struggling so much, if you have a lady friend that you're macking on, play that up to her. Say that you're really stressed out because your buddy had his pet horribly mutilated by a guitar, and so you've had to be over there and helping him out and console him, and then that'll make you seem like a really sensitive, cool dude, but at the same time, it won't make you look like an over-emotional pussy because you won't be the one who's really emotional. You'll just be the one who's helping, and so she'll be turned on by that, so just take that as an extra benefit to that first plan, and of course, that's contingent on the fact that he has a pet. Now, if he doesn't have a pet, you know, this one's a little bit more making it so that you really couldn't be friends unless you're really good at faking an accident. Maybe you have a woodworking project or a steel working project, or maybe you have a shop class in school, okay? Maybe on accident one day you drop a really heavy hammer and it were to break his fingers, or God forbid, you hold his wrist onto a 2x4 and accidentally slice the first finger off on his right hand. That'd be a goddamn shame. But also, that would make it so he couldn't play those instruments anymore. So, you know, if possible, let's go the friendly route and make sure there are no appendages permanently missing. But if a ball-peen hammer were to somehow find its way, so to speak, onto his knuckles, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Not too bad, you know, just go for it, ride that out, and then when he gets back a few months later and says, all right, guys, I'm ready to jam again, you can say, oh, man, well, shit, we've already moved on with our sound style, you can't keep up, and we kind of closed the gate on the whole entry process, so that should probably work, okay? So take that to heart. Hopefully he has a pet. Fingers crossed on that one. All right, next one. Got any tips for a person who wants to move to the US from the UK? What are some small things I should know? Cheers, man. Loving the videos. All right. The first thing you want to do when you get here, or even before, preferably, is bring a gun. Make sure you have a very powerful gun. I'm not talking about a handgun, maybe an AR-15, some kind of assault rifle style gun. And if you can get it before you come to the U.S. and just bring it on the carry-on, we're pretty cool with that over here. Just do that. And then when you get here, I'm sure you guys are like really strict about gun laws and whatnot over there in Fairyland, but over here, we just walk around in Walmart parking lots firing wildly with abandon into the air, just screaming and talking about how great Abe Lincoln and all of our favorite presidents are. And that's what you're going to want to do. Make sure you have a gun and brandish it everywhere. Don't hide it. If it says that you can't have a conceal and carry, or that guns must be concealed, if it says that on the outside of a building or a residence, that's just kind of a joke. It's just kind of a formality thing we have to do. Nobody's going to say anything. And if they do, they're just a pussy. They're not a real American. So just make sure you have a gun, first and foremost. Next, you need to gain at least 60 pounds before you come over here, because if you know, being in the UK, I'm sure anyone has told you that we're all grotesquely overweight and disgusting, and you're really going to feel weird if you come over here and you're in decent shape, because it's gotten to the point where we're like backwards evolving, and so the girls are starting to find fat guys more attractive, you know, and so make sure that you're getting fat as shit before you come over, and you're going to get hella's bitches, okay? Get a double or triple chin going. It's almost like 15th century Europe, back where you're from, man, where they think fat is a sign of wealthy. See what I'm saying? So go for that. And next, the biggest thing, make sure you move to the deep south, the very deep south. The nicest people there, very tolerant, very accepting. It's the area you want to be in. Maybe throw like a really southern Georgia or a nice Mississippi in there. Oh man, you're gonna have a good time there. And when you get there, make sure you come out immediately and put a few bumper stickers on your car that denote that you are in fact a gay atheist who masturbates to pictures of Obama nightly. And they're just going to be fawning over you. They're going to be great. They're going to see how cultured you are, how willing to look at new ideas from new perspectives, and they're going to be just more than happy to share their wonderful state of, you know, opulence and magnificence with you, because they're very, very tolerant down there. So make sure that you do that. It's a great way to make friends, honestly. Nobody gets more friend requests on Facebook in the South than a gay atheist who has a masturbatory fantasy for Obama or any Democrat for that matter. So that's what I got to say for that. Welcome to the U.S. when you get here, bud. Hit me up, and good luck. And I love you.